Hello, y'all pay attention to what's going on in Georgia.
We're beginning today's show in Atlanta, Georgia, where the state's Republican Attorney General has announced a sweeping new RICO indictment against 61 activists and others he accuses of being part of a, quote, criminal enterprise to stop Cop City, a massive $90 million police training complex that's facing widespread opposition and ongoing protests. The charges were brought in Fulton County. And
if y'all have not watched the video that I did on Cop City, it is a recent video. Please go watch it. Okay? The police. I say the police. Okay? And they don't work for us. You understand? These are privately paid police. Okay, I'm not even gonna go there, but y'all listen. Okay, so they want to take 85 acres of woods, cut it down, and build a cop city. It was nicknamed Cop City by the Atlanteans, right? Which will be a training facility. So that they can, I'm trying to mind my words. Just do your research, okay? But there will be tanks and constant militarized patrol in every neighborhood. And listen, okay. Y'all not listening. I'm gonna give you some time. Just let her talk.
By the same grand jury that indicted former President Donald Trump and 18 of his associates on RICO or racketeering charges brought by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who is a Democrat.
This is Fulton County, the ones with the lovely jail reputation. Okay, yeah.
Conference Tuesday, Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr and John Fowler, head of Georgia's prosecution division, laid out their allegations and why they brought the case in Fulton County.
As alleged in the indictment, the defendants are members of Defend the Atlanta Forest, an anarchist, anti-police, and anti-business extremist organization. We contend these 61 defendants together have conspired to prevent the construction of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center by conducting, coordinating, and organizing acts of violence, intimidation, and property destruction.
Now, make that make sense. I just want y'all to listen to what he's saying. I want y'all to listen to what he is saying. They are on the news saying this. So I'm pretty sure people are going to believe it. Why would a determined organization, hold on. Okay, so I want y'all to first go to Cop City Vote on Instagram, okay? And you can see the importance of this, the efforts being put out, and what you need to do, okay? To sign the petition, which is an in-person petition, and you need to have been registered to vote in Atlanta by 2017 or 2021. I think it's 2021. So that you can place your vote against Cop City. I want you to go to copcityvote.com so that you can read all of the information concerning this thing that they're up to. I did read some of it on that video, that previous video that I did. Now, I just want to show y'all that there is organized canvassing with Cop City. Okay? Organized canvassing. Meaning you have to get certain rights to protest. to canvass, I'll put it like that, to go around asking for signatures. You have to have permissions to do that. There has been constant opposition and corrupt gangster mafia style involvement in just the idea of putting a stop to Cop City, in the idea, much less the actions, of trying to go around and get people to sign. This petition has to be signed in person, and for each signature to count, you have to have been registered to vote in Atlanta. I want to say 2021. It's on a website. But the petition is to get this on the ballot so it can be votable. Okay? You have to be trained to know how to canvass so that you're not breaking any laws. Okay? You have to be trained. There are many people who live in neighborhoods who also go against canvassing. They don't want you to canvass. But are those same neighborhoods gonna want militarized, privately paid, corporate paid cops literally in their neighborhoods, literally everywhere? Tanks, weapons, and everything. And whatever laws and rules that they want to enforce, they will. If they say you can't come out your house, you won't. Do you understand? This is serious. The organization is serious. And it's also professional. Now, do you think people are dying because of this by the hands of the police? They absolutely are.
And organizing acts of violence, intimidation, and property destruction. Why Fulton County and not DeKalb?
If you go to copcity.com, if you go to copcity.com, you will find out who is creating acts of violence and intimidation. This makes me think of the song Jason Aldean, Try That in a Small Town. And we know this isn't a small town, right? However, when improper news without proper research is put out, people will have that idea, oh, y'all over there terrorizing and cutting up. Yeah, try that in a small town. But see, the truth of the matter is, and I'm not speaking for any and every situation, I'm speaking for this particular situation. There is no burning and looting and none of that going on. These are simply Atlanteans saying that we want the right to be able to vote whether or not we even want this to take place. And trying to inform people in Atlanta that this is even a thing. You know how many people are going about their daily lives and don't even understand what is taking place right now? And who we are up against. And what corporations are funding this gang. And what corporations are all in support of Cop City. so that you don't go there, so that you don't patronize them. Because when you do, you're helping pay for them, and you're helping pay for Cop City. Everything that people fear to come about for us. You know how here and there people say we're in threat and danger of martial law when something happens? You have to pay attention to what is going on, or you're going to be blindsided and bamboozled. We already know that there's never enough control for them. It's never enough control. Never enough ownership. They want to completely control and own you. Way more than they do now. If we're being manipulated by every stretch of the imagination, by ways of what is put in our so-called food and water, which, do you understand, the U.S. do not believe that it is a basic human right for anyone to have food and water?
County. Georgia racketeering law allows that, and we availed ourselves of the Georgia racketeering law to do that. Anywhere that a predicate act or an overt act in furtherance of a conspiracy occurred in any county where that occurred is where you can indict the case, and we chose Fulton County. When you allege a conspiracy to commit racketeering, there's no requirement under Georgia law that they know each other. The whole purpose of the Georgia racketeering law is that they're all working in some way, shape, or form towards the same goal, and they formed a conspiracy to do that. That doesn't necessarily mean that every person has to talk to every single person. All you have to do is commit one overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy with the others, and then you can be guilty of racketeering. So that's why, is because it's a large case, and so if you want to tie everybody together and they're all trying to do the same thing.
They can put whatever they want to put in their case, their allegations, in their report. Now, it's supposed to be up to the prosecution to prove something, right? Who is going to be easier to prove something than the law themselves? These people are literally trying to charge opposers for organizing to wake the citizens up and speak up and say, we do not want y'all to build a cop city. We don't want you to cut down that many acres of woodlands. We do not want you to steal more money from the city to help you build this, especially if you're going to take our money. We want to have a right in saying how our money is being spent, and we're not okay with that. I want to be clear here, and I'm going to say this before I get too far in the video and y'all still ain't paying attention. This is not just about Atlanta. Okay? You want some try that in a small town type of attitude? Well, how about this? How about this is coming to your city and state as well? Atlanta is the first. This is the most surveilled city in the U.S. already. You think I'm playing? I was just out there last night going to watch a red carpet movie premiere. I drive through Atlanta with the raggedy streets. Atlanta streets would tear your car up, but they want to take money and they want to put it into this. I stay off the highways as much as I can. I'm a truck driver. I've seen enough. I sit in traffic enough. And there's a lot of winding maze-like roads in Atlanta, and you would not go anywhere, and I do mean anywhere, and I do mean anywhere, without multiple surveillance methods. You do not go anywhere in Atlanta and do not see cops. I'm pretty sure y'all still living a different type of lifestyle where you at. You don't see cops that much. You see cameras, but you don't literally have them everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean overkill everywhere. I mean, what's everywhere? Everywhere's everywhere, right? Okay, everywhere. Do you see cops everywhere? Everywhere you go? There's nowhere you going in Atlanta you don't see cops. Nowhere. Nowhere. It took a while, but it actually became normal to me. I still notice it. But it is the norm. And it's been increasing, but it's the norm. This is the first. If you don't want to do research, don't. If you say, I'm not living in Atlanta, I don't got to worry about that, that's on y'all. Okay. When it is successful here, it will be everywhere. That's not an assumption. This will be everywhere. And they are doing whatever they can to make this happen. Cops aren't dying because of protest situations. People are, by the hands of cops. Propaganda is spread about what is going on, what type of protesting is going on, what type of opposition they're getting. There is nothing violent or physical coming from anybody organizing to oppose Cop City. But there is opposition at every turn. I'm talking about for approvals to canvass, for approvals, counting the who's got to count up and validize the signatures. Not us. We're essentially following their plans, rules, laws, to get a chance to get this on the ballot. And they've been shutting it down with every turn, with every crooked try that they can, including violence, intimidation, bullying. This is a gang. This is a gang. Corporations want your money. They don't care about nothing else. All gangs want your money. The doctors want your money. The pharmacists want your money. The government wants your money. Insurance companies want your money. Large chains want your money. I could go on. And they all work together because you are money. A healthy, happy, properly informed, free to think and do you does not benefit anyone who is in the business of wanting your money. There is no life if it's imprisonment. That's not life. That's not what we were given. It is a disgrace and a tragedy to sit and allow another human man to take complete control over your life and your rights. Your life and your rights that barely exists now, and it only exists in a figment of your imagination. It will be gone. It will be worse. This world is way different than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's worse than it's ever been. And they have pulled out all the stops throughout the years. All the stops. Pandemics. You see how I hesitated? How do we live in a world that we can't even speak about what exists or existed? Because they claim it's another round going on, and people are saying they'll catch it. A friend of mine, she just caught it. They're pulling out all kind of stops so that they can change the life as you know it, while also eliminating people. But it's putting them more and more in control in the ways that they want. The sicker you are, the better. The more damaged you are, the better. I wouldn't even be surprised if they're not literally putting more parasites than already exist in your food so that you can be invaded. And you can keep going to the doctor and they can tell you everything under the sun but truth. And you can fall for the diagnoses, you can buy the medications, and you can continue to live a life that multiplies your invaders. Did I just take a turn that y'all aren't comfortable with or familiar with? Well, you better hurry up and get there. You better hurry up and get there.
Racketeering is the appropriate charge.
In addition to the 61 racketeering indictments, 5 people were also indicted on domestic terrorism and first-degree arson charges. 3 people with the Atlanta Solidarity Fund were each indicted on 15 counts of money laundering for their work to provide bail money and legal aid for protesters. The indictment was issued on September 5th and filed August 29th. The indictment alleges the protests included violent anti-police sentiment that's now one of the, quote, core driving motives of protests to stop Cop City. For more, we go to Atlanta, where we're joined by Kiana Jones, a Stop Cop City organizer.
I am glad that someone is coming to speak on behalf, because I don't want to have to sit here and literally try and explain to you guys that these people do not even work for us. First of all, let me start there. They don't work for us. It's like pulling teeth to even try to find out 100% how they're funded. You listening? Their goals and agendas are the goals and agendas of their employers. And if we are seeing a cop city along with everything else that everybody don't know about that's going on, what do you think they're going to do with this training that they get from this facility? Go to the website and take a look at what they're building there. They're going to have simulations of neighborhood stores, all that. And they're going to train not just Atlanta police. Y'all people coming down to get trained too. Do you not understand? And then there will be other training facilities so they can get this done, speed this up. Everybody can't do it here. 85 acres is a lot. But why just have it in Atlanta? No, because this is going to be the new way of life. There will be no more life as you know it if this goes forward. And this ain't even what we want. We are all doomed. We might as well cease to exist. They don't even want you to grow your own food and water. You must take what they put out into your body when it's no good for you. They are creating fake foods every day. Why would you make fake fruit? Why would you start coating fruit with things that are going to cause more harm and damage and destruction to your body? Why? And then lie and say it's for a good cause. There ain't no such a thing. If we're not picking it off the tree, we already in trouble. We don't need you putting nothing on it. You already doing nothing. We got to worry about pesticides that is in foods. That company owns actual food seeds. They changing the genetic structure of your food. Do you know what food is? Food is medicine. It is life sustaining for your body. It tells your body how to operate. It gives your body what it needs to operate. What do you become when you don't give your body what it needs to operate in the way it is designed to? What do you become? Can somebody answer me that? Look around. Look around.
Community movement builders, and Devin Franklin, a movement policy counsel at the Southern Center for Human Rights. He worked over a decade as a public defender in Atlanta. His group has issued a call for lawyers to represent the 61 people now facing RICO charges. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! These are late-breaking developments. Devin, let's begin with you. Can you explain what happened? Can you explain these RICO charges against 61 activists from the same Fulton County grand jury that approved the RICO charges against President Trump? But this was all led by the Republican Attorney General. Almost looks like a response to what Fani Willis did with the grand jury against President Trump and others.
Good morning. Yes, it certainly is a response, but I would argue that it is a response to the larger movement that's been on as it pertains to several matters of police violence and government prejudice. It's just a lot going on, and I think that the state has shown that they don't have a meaningful way to respond to what the people are showing that they want, and they are choosing to use the legal process in a essentially violent way to target protesters.
Gang. Intimidation and bullying. Gang. We have given up so much control in our lives that we don't even have the basic right to say that we are not okay with this. No thank you. No thank you. That's basically it. No thank you.
And could you talk about the indictment itself, some of the main aspects of it, Devin Franklin, and the number of people is extraordinary that are charged?
Yeah, it's really rare for this number of people to be included on an indictment. In my 12 years as a public defender in Fulton County, I never had a case that was this large or witnessed a case that was this large. I think that when we look at the number of people that were accused and we look at the allegations that are included in the indictment, what we see are a wide variety of activities that are lawful, that are being deemed to be criminal. And that includes things such as passing out flyers, right? A really clear example.
Please pay attention. Please pay attention. These people are not committing no crimes to be indicted for. And then do you hear racketeering money or unlawfully obtaining money to fund the organization? Do you understand that there are plenty of intelligent people in this world? There are plenty of intelligent people in Atlanta, Georgia, who full well understand that if you want to be successful at your opposition of something like this, the one thing you can't do is win it by being illegal, criminal, violent, and just plain old dumb. You're going up against law enforcement and other places, right? But we're talking about the actual police force, right? So the first thing not to do is what? Break the law. That's basic common sense. If you guys think that people who are organized to be actively against Cop City are so dumb that the only way they think they can go about it is to be violent and do all things illegal, then you already gone. You lost. They got you. You belong to them. And I guess you're going to be sitting happily by when we're just reduced to what? You know what's coming. You know what their plans are. We all do. We all have been known. Whether we wanted to admit it, agree with it, say it's a conspiracy theory or whatnot, I literally in my documentary night had someone there sit and tell me that just basic things that I'm saying is it's like conspiracy theory. And I'm looking like, first of all, for you to even say that phrase, that shouldn't even be used anymore, because it was so widely used to shut down any theory that there's some weird stuff going on, and have been, that we have not been manipulated and lied to. And we have. We've been lied to practically about everything. Everything. And we're lied to every day. If I want to only benefit from you in every way that I can and keep you under control, I can't do that by telling you the truth. And allowing you to make informed decisions based upon what that truth is. I can't do it that way. No. Conspiracy theory? We're way past that. We're way past that. We're just going to try and get closer to reality and wise up about what's going on. There's some of us out here that still are human, that still have our brain capacity, enough soul and souls and spirits inside of us, natural energy, life force still inside of us, that we know what we are. Some of us still know what we are, walking this planet. And we still have a sense of how life should be for us. We still have a sense of our basic rights. Another human that was born like me, bleeds like me, can get sick like me, can die like me, does not get the right to completely control my existence while altering the very state of what I am and who I am. That's a hard no for me. And it's a hard no for a lot of people. And guess what? We can say that. If you can prove to me that you literally created me and put me here, if you can literally prove to me that you created me, that you put me here, that you're responsible for the existence of this space that we're in, I might respect you. I might bow down. I might listen. I might think that you got to know what you're talking about. You created me. You created all of this. Ain't nobody walking this earth that did that. They were created themselves. Ain't nobody walking this earth finna take complete control over my life and alter the very state of what I am and who I am. That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
First Amendment, the exercise of First Amendment rights. We see that organizations that were bailing people out for protests or conducting business in otherwise lawful manners have been deemed to be part of some ominous infrastructure. And it's just not accurate. This is really clearly a political prosecution. And yeah.
And how does it turn out that the same grand jury that indicted Trump and his associates was the grand jury on this particular case?
It appears to be so from the limited information that I've been given, and it could simply be a matter of timing. It could have been something that was ordered by DA Fonnie Willis and AG Chris Carr. There's no way to know for certain, but what we do know is that for some point in time, for a period of time rather, the Attorney General of the state of Georgia, the Governor of the state of Georgia, Brian Kemp, have both expressed discontent with the success that has been gained by the Stop Cop City movement and the momentum that has been created in the streets among the people, and that they have chosen to use those things which they have at their disposal to essentially attempt to criminalize otherwise lawful activity.
Devin Franklin, what's interesting is that the DeKalb County's top prosecutor, the DA, announced she is stepping away from every case involving Atlanta's Public Safety Training Center, Cop City. DeKalb County District Attorney Sherry Boston announced she is out.
Did you hear what they're calling it? A public safety training center. If you hear this, you say, yeah, we need that. Atlanta needs that because Atlanta is just bad. A public safety training center. Do you think, let me ask y'all a question. Do you think that people just want to have a beef with the law? Do you think that people want to have a problem with cops? When y'all can remember, some of us, a lot of us, Gen Xers can, remember a time when you were little and you were told if you have a problem, you see a cop, flag them down. You get lost, you see a cop, they're going to help you find your parents. If somebody bother you, call the cops. Go to a cop. We weren't raised with this type of experience with the police. We were raised that they were here to protect us, to help us. And a lot of times they did. We didn't start openly seeing the corruption, the gangness, and the violence towards citizens from cops until much later. The veil was just removed, and the actions, they were just moving on to the next phase. The largest organized gang in the U.S. And people still want to believe that they're right and exact, or they're for us, literally, and they're not. They are here to control and enforce whatever rules and laws that their employers want. If you say protection, like the saying, serve and protect, or this is supposed to be a protection training facility, yeah, to protect you from doing anything that they don't want you to do. Anything that they say you cannot do or say, that's what it's to protect you from. That's not a conspiracy theory. Not that I'm saying is a conspiracy theory. Some of y'all are too geeked up off their chemicals and poisons, medications. You still romanticizing law. You still romanticizing law enforcement. You still romanticizing the government. Hell, y'all even fight over presidents. Just fight over presidents.
You will not support these charges going forward. Your response to this?
I think it's telling. I think it's really telling because the DeKalb County prosecutor has, a pretty good reputation in the legal community. And for her to take a look at the actions that the Attorney General was seeking to go forward with in her county, and for her to say, I don't want to be parts of it. I have concerns about the legitimacy of these charges. I have concerns about the intent of the charges that the prosecutor, Attorney General Chris Carr, is seeking. I think that it is kind of a unique way of saying the quiet part out loud, which is something is not right. Something doesn't smell right with this entire situation, and I want no parts of it.
What you are looking at is them bullying, arresting, and in some cases killing people who are simply saying, I need to let y'all know what they are up to. We're not okay with it, and if you are not okay with it, this is what we have to do. You need to be registered to vote by a certain date in Atlanta. You need to sign this petition, and we need to get this on the ballot so that we can vote for it. We need to let them know that we want the right to decide whether or not they get to do this, because they're not asking our permission, clearly. There happen to be some of us who pay attention to a lot of things that are going on and attempted to go on. And we see something that says it's going to be bad. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. Other people need to know about this. We need to do something about this. This is going to be bad for us. Some people say, oh, the more cops, less crime. Yeah, I want the cops patrolling my neighborhoods. How many of your children can go outside and play in the yard? Or go ride their bikes around the neighborhood? Because, that used to be a thing. I'm just curious. Is that something that... No. How many times do you think about it before you actually say, I'm going to just go walk around the neighborhood for some exercise or some sunshine? And it's not just because of fear of criminals.
that will bear out as we get deeper into the discovery that is to follow the indictment.
And very quickly, before we go to Kiana Jones, your own center, the Southern Center for Human Rights, has it been named in any way in this? You have called for lawyers around the country to come help represent the protesters, but you yourself are a lawyer and you're a former public defender.
Correct. Yeah. In no way that I'm aware that we have been named in anything. We are simply essentially just trying to make sure that persons who are brought within.
And I'm pretty sure he will be. Why not? They're naming everybody else. They're accusing anybody and everybody of being involved with this organization of being criminal. That is the goal, to try and stop anyone and everyone from having any involvement.
The arms of the legal system have access to counsel. That's a constitutional right. And there is nothing unlawful about ensuring that people have fair, accurate, zealous representation when they're taking on a system such as what the state of Georgia is being at this point in time.
I'd like to bring Kiana Jones into the conversation, an organizer against Cop City. Welcome to Democracy Now! And your response to these indictments.
Thank you for having me. My response to these indictments is just the same as Devin's. We know that this is retaliation for anyone who seeks to oppose the government here in Georgia. A very clear message was sent with this particular RICO indictment. We see that the date on this indictment reads May 25th, 2020, the date that George Floyd was murdered, the date that people all across this country stood up and said that enough is enough. We won't stand for police terror, excessive violence and brutality, and the senseless killings of innocent black people around this country. Since that date, this country has been upended by governments across the nation trying to build cop cities in order to quell protests, because the government is simply upset that people seek to oppose and use their First Amendment right to protest when we see injustice coming from those in authority.
And can you talk about examples of the charges? For example, handing out flyers, Kiana.
Yes, people were indicted for handing out flyers, and what those flyers contained.
Are y'all not paying attention? Because I could show you a flyer. Actually, dang it, I can't show you a flyer, but I can show you a flyer at another time. It is a little card, and it just says it's very limited on information, actually, but it does tell you where to go: Instagram, all of that, copcity, vote.com. To find out more information. It has a little picture of a couple of people, I think, and it has the mouth is covered. It's like a card. It's like a 5x7. Okay.
Of all, messages that say stop Cop City, messages that give details about what Cop City truly is, that it is not just a public safety training facility, that it is actually a militarized training facility that would destroy.
She's speaking at my speed. That's good, but it don't even give you details. I just want to correct her on that. It don't give you details. You got to go to the website to get details. Because I ain't gonna lie, when I was first approached at a dog park, in a neighborhood, right? I was like, what? If you look at the flyer, you're like, okay, stop Cop City. Okay. But when you're explained about the situation, then you go to the website to see the literal proof, the paperwork. Then you begin to understand. But it's not clear on that flyer even. It just says stop Cop City, though. It says stop Cop City. And what she said is factual. Okay? It is not a public safety training center. They can call it what they want to call it, and they're being deceptive by calling it that. Just the same way they've been saying they're here to serve and protect. This is a militarized training facility. Literally. Not assumptionally, not conspiracy theory. It is literally a militarized training facility, and it will be militarized patrol and actions by them from whatever day they release the graduates forward. And they will also spend money on tanks and whatever else they need so they can surveil 24/7 everybody in a militarized way. This is not just for Atlanta. This is not just for Atlanta. I want to be clear. This is not just for Atlanta. This is for a city near you. Nobody's exempt. Nobody is exempt.
381 acres of forest land in a black neighborhood where the city of Atlanta essentially had no jurisdiction in DeKalb County, but somehow backroom deals were made and laws were broken in order to acquire the land. Some of the flyers actually named the murderers of Manuel Esteban Paez Terán, known as Tortuguita. There is nothing that is wrong with giving information. So information that was obtained through public record that said, hey, there was a protester that was killed for sitting with their hands up. These are the perpetrators. We need justice. We want justice. I don't understand how giving out flyers with information is domestic terrorism. I don't understand how holding a sign that says Stop Cop City is domestic terrorism. I don't understand how opposing the government, using your legal right to protest, your right to freedom of speech, is domestic terrorism. And I certainly don't understand how attending a music festival.
Where's the terrorism? Do y'all see any where's the terrorism? They're being the terrorists. All day. They're being the terrorists. Okay, so you can go to Defend Atlanta Forest on IG and see what they're up to. Okay? You see this? It says jailed forest defenders are being denied bond and medication. Okay. They are showing companies that are working with them. I'm waiting for some terrorism to show up because I don't see any. And yes, this is true. Yes, they are hiring cops from other cities to come and help them fight against protesters. Okay? Outing more companies. You see? Okay.
Test your right to freedom of speech is domestic terrorism. And I certainly don't understand how attending a music festival is domestic terrorism.
And Gianna, what about this issue of the campaign for a ballot referendum against Cop City? The impact of something like these indictments on potential voters?
Oh, absolutely. This is the state's last desperate attempt to shut down the ballot referendum. We have been back and forth in court with Mayor Dickens and the city of Atlanta, also the state of Georgia, about the validity of this ballot referendum, which we know we have the right to under the Georgia Constitution, the same way Attorney General Carr went to the laws of the state of Georgia to throw together this RICO indictment. We searched the laws of the state of Georgia and the Georgia State Constitution, and we know that we have a legal right to this ballot referendum. But instead, Attorney General Carr, Mayor Andre Dickens of the city of Atlanta have tried to tie us up in court to invalidate not only this referendum, but all referenda going forward, which is a very dangerous precedent that would be set, because what it says essentially is that if you don't like the laws that have been passed or something that's been done by your local government, then you would have no recourse. And I believe that that in itself is the ultimate pinnacle of anti-democracy.
Attorney Devin Franklin, all of these activists will be processed at the Fulton County Jail in the same way that Trump was and his co-conspirators. And can these charges be expanded to others? And as people organize for the referendum, as they organize against Cop City, which would be the largest such training facility in the country, does this completely derail it as they fight for their own vindication?
Nothing derails the movement. As Kiana spoke, there have been ups and downs throughout the entire period of this. But one thing that we know is that the movement has shown a great deal of resiliency, intelligence, and structure and organization. It's a wide-ranging movement. Black people, white people, heterosexual people, transgender people, environmentalists, social justice activists. It's a coalition of people who have come together around several issues and allow people to learn from one another about a variety of things. So I do not believe that this farce of an indictment is going to intimidate those members of the movement. To answer your first question, I do believe that the persons who have been charged at some point in time will go through the same booking processes as the people involved in the Trump indictment. It is too early to know if they will have the same access to.
He's freezing. He keeps freezing for some reason.
You just froze, Devin.
Let me know when I'm back.
Go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, it's unclear as to whether or not members of the movement will have access to the same negotiation abilities for bonds as members of the Trump indictment did. We would certainly hope so. But it's really early in the process, and we are awaiting word of what that will look like.
Well, I want to thank you both for being with us. Devin Franklin, Movement Policy Council at the Southern Center.
Go to copcityvote.com and you can find out about the movement. You can find out about what's going on, and you get all the information. Okay? All you gotta do is press buttons and you'll get the information. Okay?